When I read what they did with Trump's tweet, I mean, first of all, talk about big tech committing treason. I mean, they just one after the other. Twitter certainly guilty, and I remember, just can you like really briefly tell everyone what Google did when Trump one of his most famous and retweeted tweets was about how do you say that? Covfefe. And everyone railed on him and said that it was a typo, but it turns out it wasn't. If it wasn't a typo, Google was going to make sure that it was remembered as a typo. And what Google did they literally took the word and deleted it from the internet so that people could not reference or find the meaning of this the way it was intended to be interpreted, because it was an Arabic word. Is that right? Am I getting this right?
So here's the tweet right here, right? Despite the negative constant press, Covfefe, and it turns out that a whole bunch of people went online and found that there was a translation of the word Covfefe from Arabic to English. And that translation was, "We will stand up." And so when you look at this, it said, despite the constant negative press, we will stand up. That's the decode of the tweet.
Right. So they took that and they fucking deleted it. They literally
but here's how the propaganda works, right? Like, you want to see some magic? Let's see some black magic, and look up the definition of black magic. One of the definitions is an influence operation. It's not the, twiddle your fingers and the mop starts coming alive and cleaning up the room. It's a literal influence operation is one of the definitions of black magic. So let's look at some black magic here. Okay. The New York Times writes a hit piece saying that Covfefe is being mistakenly identified and that it's actually a nonsense word. And so because of that New York Times article, the same day right here, Google writes this letter saying that actually we got it wrong because it actually doesn't make any sense because, when would the New York Times ever get something wrong?
Right. So because people were using Google Translate to find the definition of what Trump tweeted, right?
Yes.
And so Google had a problem because that tweet was, cryptic and eloquent, and people were saying, "Oh, he's saying this."
Yeah.
And Google did not want Trump coming off as anything but, a buffoon and an ass. And, he was the person they were painting to be the villain. Villains don't write things like with that tweet. That doesn't sound like something a villain would write. And so they had a problem, but they went to work on it. And they did some black magic on it, and they go ahead. Tell
and then what happened is that from that article, they wrote this bug report right here, which was like, we need to get rid of this word. We're going to delete it, but they didn't actually say we're going to delete it. What they did instead was they said we're going to replace it with an emoticon, a shruggy. That's like, I don't know what you mean, right?
They fucking replaced it with an emoticon.
Right, which actually would have been funny, except when they replaced it with the emoticon, they're like, actually, let's just delete the word. And let's delete the word again because the AI found another way to translate it. So they had to delete it twice, and the word dropped off from the internet. And from that, missing definition, the media could now go out and claim that Trump was mentally unstable because he's tweeting nonsense like Covfefe. And it's like me on the inside is saying, it's you guys, literally took it off the internet, making it nonsense in real time so that you could remove a democratically elected president. I mean, once I saw that, I was like, I've had it. This is too corrupt. This is criminal. It's fraud against the American public. It's fraud against their stockholders. It's fraud against Congress and everything that they said about never delving into this. They were being completely evil. And it was like, at that point, that's when I was really close to blowing the whistle. And that's the Covfefe story.
Covfefe became the catalyst for calling Trump mentally, insufficient and calling for his removal of office, and the way that they took this and then tried to leverage it into this other thing was nothing short of remarkable and ridiculous. But that's the lovely power of editing. We're going to show some of the highlights of that of Google's black magic.